non-Koreans in the industry?
Oh, yeah. Even though I'm Asian, I don't look like the certain typical stereotype of Asians. That's why for me it will be much harder to get in because I think that the beauty standards are entirely different from me. But even if those are like the case, I still have to try my best. And skills are what matters most.
It's audition day at Born Star Training Center in New York City. 10-year-old Jamie and her dance partner Nina are about to perform for a judge from F&C Entertainment, a major South Korean entertainment company. If they impress him, they might be selected to go to Asia to train as K-pop artists. K-pop is short for Korean pop. With the chart-topping popularity of South Korean boy band BTS, the genre has finally broken ground in the US.
The audience that typically likes young pop stars didn't have anyone. Justin Bieber was missing in action, One Direction's members were doing their own thing. BTS kind of moved into this space where everybody who had somebody a few years ago, there was a lack. Also, the Western markets are now opening up more to non-English music. They are a perfect group for a globalized age.
K-pop has influenced a generation of young Americans to try their chances of making it in the Korean music industry. Take 21-year-old Ten. He took time off from college to pursue his dream.
I wanted to become a K-pop star 2 or 3 years ago when I was in high school. So I guess I fell in love with K-pop because, you know, it's a different language and also how it has dancing and singing together.
Why do you want to be a K-pop star?
I want to be a K-pop star because I like to dance and sing a lot.
So, you know, it's very, very hard to be a K-pop star. You have to train. Do you think you're ready to take that on?
Yes.
You think so? In South Korea, K-pop stars are not born, they're made. They're often products of training schools, where kids undergo rigorous instruction on how to sing, dance, and be the perfect pop star. While these training schools are common in South Korea, Born Star Training Center claims to be the only K-pop school in the country.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
So what's the difference between the training center here versus a training center in Korea?
Korea, we give a little bit harder training, more hours, but here we let them choose. Most of our students, 10% is hobby, but 90% they really want to be a star. That's what we training and aim for.
19-year-old TJ has only been training at Born Star for 5 months. How has the school helped you improve?
Coaches really gave me insight on like stuff I didn't know about my own voice. Now I'm more aware of like the techniques that they've taught me, like breathing wise, taking more breaths, and I think just the confidence, like it's been higher. Ten and TJ auditioned as part of their group Havoc. 3 of the members, including the duo, are Tibetan American, 1 member is Pakistani American, and another is Filipino American. Do you all have the same goal of like wanting to break into the K-pop industry?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Is there a market for like non-Koreans to become K-pop stars?
For non-Asians, at the moment, there is no real market in the K-pop industry. You have a lot of Korean Americans, you have Chinese Americans who are going into the K-pop world.
While it appears that East Asians have a leg up in the industry, there have actually been a few non-Asians that have made it on stage in Korea.
Alexandra Reed, she was part of the girl group called Renia for a while. And sometimes they just added her in like as if she's an extra like featured rapper. It didn't really seem to be like they knew what to do with her.
Reed has since come out about the struggles of being an African-American K-pop star and eventually left the group. Then there's EXP Edition. While the group has a decent following on social media, they haven't released a song since early this year.
Why they interested in USA? Because they speak English perfect. That's what they need.
It's very, very profitable for these companies to have multilingual speakers. But right now, I don't know of any companies, at least not any of the big companies, that have non-Asian trainees.
Jamie is Korean American. And so if she were selected to go train in Korea, would you allow her to go?
My wife and my sister-in-law, they're already preparing everything. They're planning already, but it's a couple years down the road.
Before enrolling at Bornstar, Ten actually spent all last year training at a center in Seoul, South Korea. What was the training like?
The classes are usually around 2 to 3 hours. Yeah, I'd have like maybe the total of like around like 7 to 8 hours I'd be practicing.
And how did you feel compared to the other trainees?
I'm more of a vocalist rather than like a dancer. Got to dance with people who've been dancing rest almost their entire life fully.
So why did you eventually leave Korea?
Everything was too fast-paced, where everything was too competitive, where I felt like I wasn't ready to be able to maintain that kind of pressure. That's why I guess I came back to the States and try to be able to get better and then hopefully come back again.
Training to be a K-pop star is hard. Take it from me. But hard work does eventually pay off at Bornstar. During the auditions, TJ got a call back to do a solo.
I had to introduce myself, and then they took pictures of me from all my angles. I felt kind of uncomfortable, to be honest, because it was I felt like a robot, but then I realized this is how the industry is, so you need to get used to stuff like this.
It seems like image is very important when you're trying to become a star.
Yeah, so the best looking stars tend to do better. Trainees have come out and spoken about how they've had eating disorders because of it. You have to watch your weight, you have to work out, you have to have abs if your company says you have to have abs.
Jamie also had a call back.
Now, the main issue is that she's too young, and so a lot of the feedback is her voice and her body's going to change. They're not going to pick her until after 13. In either event, she's practicing, she's learning.
The goal for many at Bornstar is to train hard and continue to audition for Korean companies that travel to the States to seek out foreign talent. How many actually make it?
If you have 100 groups and each one has at least 3 members, you have at least 300 kids who, make it into the group. That means hundreds of other ones aren't making it into those same groups. So it's really tough. The average kid is not going to make it. You have to really not only want it, but also, work hard for it. It's extremely competitive.
The trainees at Bornstar are not deterred. In the past year, the school has sent 2 students to Korea.
I mean, I'm kind of lucky. I feel like maybe we training must be good.
So your goal is to go back to Korea?
Yeah, my goal is to hopefully go back to Korea and achieve my dream.
How do you think you'll cope with being in Korea?
There's not as much leisure time, so having a girlfriend I don't think is allowed for most of those companies. It'll definitely be hard in the beginning, especially with the language barrier, but I'm willing to work hard every day.